Every Detroit Lions fan knows the bitter taste of coming so close, only to fall short. Barry Sanders retiring too soon, Calvin Johnson's early exit, that brutal 0-16 season still haunting us like a bad dream. Last year's playoff push felt like a new dawn, but can this team finally break the ceiling? In the NFC North, it's a gauntlet. The Packers grabbing headlines, the Vikings lurking with talent, the Bears always ready to upset the status quo. For the Lions, it's about more than just competing. It's about proving they've learned from the heartbreaks, that they won't be the punchline next season. But to get there, the front office has to stop playing it safe. The glaring hole left by Zadarius Smith still dents Detroit's pass rush. Can Brad Holmes and the Lions brass find the missing piece to turn this defense into a wrecking crew? Time's ticking, and rivals aren't waiting. This is Lions News Fan Report. Shout out to the roar of Ford Field and the grit of every Honolulu Blue Warrior. Subscribe now and stay locked for every update, because Detroit deserves a defense that doesn't fold at crunch time. Breaking now. The trade rumor that could shake the league and redefine Detroit's defensive identity. Cincinnati's star pass rusher, Trey Hendrickson, fresh off an NFL-leading 17.5 sack season in 2024, is reportedly on the move. The Bengals' contract talks with Hendrickson have hit a wall, turning a heated standoff into an open listen-to-offers situation. A four-time Pro Bowler with 77 career sacks and a $60 million tag, Hendrickson's elite production stands, in stark contrast to a Bengals front that struggled despite his dominance. And here's where it gets real for Detroit. With over $40 million in cap space and a glaring need at edge rusher after Zadarius Smith's departure, the Lions are now front and center in trade chatter to land this game-changing talent. Imagine pairing Hendrickson with a returning Aiden Hutchinson, two of the most feared pass rushers in the league, setting the edge, collapsing pockets, and terrorizing quarterbacks division-wide. This move wouldn't just fill a hole, it would establish Detroit as a top-tier defensive nightmare, the kind that can finally turn NFC North rivals into punching bags. Dan Campbell's tough, relentless system demands ferocity up front. Hendrickson fits like a glove, a relentless pass rusher who can sustain pressure, set the edge against the run, and elevate the entire defense. While Hutchinson recovers from a major injury, Hendrickson offers instant impact and insurance, stabilizing a defense still evolving. That said, snapping up Hendrickson means recalibrating the Lions' depth chart and likely parting with draft capital and players in the deal, potentially swapping younger talent or depth pieces to the Bengals. But with playoff aspirations looming, the risk is worth the reward. The ripple effect. Packers and Vikings better take notice. Detroit's pass rush, suddenly a daunting, relentless force that could dictate every NFC North game plan from week one. The stakes couldn't be higher. Detroit fans crave more than hope. They demand results, and the energy in Ford Field will fuel a defense hungry for respect. If the front office acts decisively, this trade could be the spark that ignites. A Lombardi pursuit many have waited decades to see. Missing on Hendrickson, however, would risk falling back into old patterns, losing the edge in a division that's merciless, leaving fans to reinvent excuses instead of celebrating wins. So here's the question, Detroit. Are Holmes and Dan Campbell ready to pull the trigger on a move this big? Will Hendrickson become the other half of that fearsome pass-rushing duo alongside Hutchinson? Or will the Lions' almost narrative continue to haunt this team? Drop your takes and debate this in every corner of Detroit, from tailgate grills to bar stools. After all, as every Lions fan knows, heartbreak is tradition, but so is a relentless hunger to rewrite that script. How does adding a $60 million sack machine change Detroit's defense and future? This could be the defining move of the new era, or yet another what-if etched in Lions lore. Now, let's see if Detroit can finally change the narrative, or if this league-altering trade is just another tease in the Detroit heat. Stay ready, Lion fans. Roar Lions. This isn't just a rumor. This could be the play that rewrites our destiny. But what if this isn't the end of the shock, but the start of something bigger? What if Detroit's front office isn't just eyeing Hendrickson to patch Marseille a hole? They see him as the catalyst for a total defensive revolution. Could this be the move that finally shatters our historic heartbreaks? Or will the league sniff out our bold gamble and strike back hard? In the shadows of the Ford Field, roar, the stakes are sky high and rivals are lurking, hungry for a slip-up. This is more than a trade. It's a statement. One move, one domino, every line in the sand drawn sharper now than ever, and the NFL is watching every second. Imagine Hendrickson flying off the edge in Honolulu blue, teammates like Hutchinson finally unleashed alongside. Him, double trouble for every quarterback in the NFC North. But can Detroit afford to gamble its future draft capital on a player who's about to hit free agency? League insiders say the Bengals are demanding a high price, possibly a first-rounder or a package of promising youth. This isn't just addition. It's a complete reimagining of our pass rush. We've seen flashes of brilliance, but will this be the move that turns the Lions' defense into the nightmare division rivals dread, or will it backfire and leave Detroit holding the bag of unmet expectations? That's the risk that keeps us all awake at night. And what about the locker room? Dan Campbell's relentless culture demands guys who can crush quarterbacks and build that unbreakable Lions identity. Hendrickson's $60 million price tag signals a no-nonsense approach. This isn't about buying a rental, it's about building a ferocious front line that can step into playoff battles. But does this upset the chemistry or the depth chart? Some whispers hint at internal debates, trading away young talent to pay big for immediate impact. Could this cause fractures in a locker room that's been inching toward greatness, or will it unify under the banner of victory? The front office's decision must be gutsy, with no room for hesitation. This is the move that could flip the season upside down. Rivals like Green Bay and Minnesota are already circling, watching our every move like hawks. This trade, if it goes through, shifts the entire NFC North power dynamic. Suddenly, Detroit isn't just in the fight. We're leading the charge. The Packers' pass rush could be scrambling to match Hendrickson's consistency, and the Vikings, always lurking, now have a more dangerous foe in our rearview. But what if Detroit's bold move spurs other teams to go all in? Will the Lions become the division's new bully, or is this a one-season flash that leaves us vulnerable in the long run? The clock is ticking, and the heat is on. Every decision, turning into a potential game-changer or a costly mistake. From a tactical standpoint, signing Hendrickson would elevate our pass rush from good to elite in one shot. His ability to collapse the pocket and set the edge aligns perfectly with Campbell's aggressive defense. Plus, with Hutchinson returning from injury, this pairing could become a nightmare for offenses. Imagine double-teaming one while the other wreaks havoc. But the question remains, can we afford the trade-offs? Giving up draft capital now might mean sacrificing long-term sustainability for immediate dominance, and Detroit fans know better than anyone that the last thing we want is to be known for short-term hits and long-term regrets. Make no mistake, this could be the defining move of the Holmes regime, a statement that signals Detroit's arrival in the NFL's top tier. Or it might be a massive overreach, leaving us exposed and frustrated once more. Every second ticks closer to the deadline, and the front office must decide if they're ready to roll the dice on the ultimate game changer. Because if they don't, rivals will pile on, and all that hope from last year's playoff push risks going up in smoke. This isn't just about a player. This is about cementing our legacy, rewriting history, and finally forcing the league to respect the Detroit Lions. The question looms large. Will Holmes and Campbell push all in, or will they hold and risk fighting with one hand tied behind their back for seasons to come? Honestly, I'm fired up but scared. This is the kind of gamble that can either launch us into the playoffs or leave us holding a bag of what-ifs for another year. If Hendrickson truly is the missing piece, then Holmes and Campbell better be prepared to go all out. We've been waiting decades for a defense that can stand tall in crunch time. This could finally be it. But if it blows up, I'll be the first to say I saw it coming, and that's a Lions fan's nightmare we've lived too many times already. Stand up, Lions Nation. This is the season we back our grit and our gold standard. Ford Field roars louder than ever. If Holmes pulls this trigger, we're not just contenders, we're the squad to fear. One Pride isn't just a slogan, it's a promise. So let's get ready, because the roar of Honolulu Blue isn't going quiet anytime soon. Are you ready to see Detroit take that final step? That's the challenge. Answer it, and let's make history together.